Rainollon here. Today's another build showcase, and it's Tenet Tetra. So let us immediately start. Starting with the mods. The mods I use in my Tenet Tetra are Galvanish Chamber, which gives you multi-shot, Meridian Force, which gives you Toxic Stash Chance, Prime Cryo Rounds, which gives you Cold, Toxin gives you Viral. Galvanize App for Stash Chance and direct damage per stash on a target, Vital Sense for critical damage, Critical Delay for critical chance, lowers your fire rate, Hammer Shot for critical damage and stash chance, and Rifle Elementalist, which gives you plus 90% status damage, which is a multiplicative damage increase for your damaging elements, and we are going to be proccing slash and heat, so this is quite nice, and gives you 0.6 punch through. For the Exos Weapon Adaptive Slot mods, I will highly recommend something like Vigilance Supplies for the ammo economy and enhancing your crits. And no, not Kinetic Ricochet, it sucks. It sucks, it isn't good. Don't get debated. For the Arcane, Primary Deadhead is, for me personally, by far the best in slot. On precision headshot kills, you get 120% increased damage, stacks up 3 times, so that's 360% increased damage, headshot multiplier, and weapon recall. All these stats really good for this weapon. For the passive, Alternative Fire launches an explosive, consuming an entire magazine to increase the damage dealt. So the higher the magazine, the more the damage. For the stats, so it's a Tenet weapon, so you have to defeat your Tenet sister, and the element I chosen is heat. Heat is quite good now, so I highly recommend using this. So not only I'm proccing heat, I can also proc slash, which makes sense to use Rifle Elementalist to boost the slash damage and heat damage. Fire rate looks really slow, but believe me, this is more than enough for this weapon. Multi-shot 1.8. Magazine is 80, which is really good. Maximum ammo is solid. 2.2 reload speed, which is fine-ish. Accuracy high, it's automatic. 0.6 punch through, so it pierces through one enemy. Riven Dispel is really good. Crit chance, crit damage, multi-shot is by far the best in slot. And get rid of Hammer Shot for it. Critical chance is solid. Crit multi solid. Stash chance is solid. And total damage is really high. Like, it's really high. I don't know why is it this high, but it's quite good. The alternative fire mode, which is the AoE, it's a semi, doesn't have punch through, it explodes in a 8-meter radius, doing this amount of damage, and does blast. And also you can hit enemies directly with the explosion, doing this amount of damage, and has the exact same stats. Overall, it's a powerful AoE, and it's quite nice for this weapon type. So it fixes both single target DPSing and also helps you with clear, which is pretty solid. So yeah, those are the stats. Stats are pretty good. Those are stats, the passive, the mods, the arcane. Time for me to show you in game. So, how good is the Tenet Tetra? I'm going to spawn level 200 Steel Path Orc and Battle Group dudes. Not these guys. Get out. Orc and Battle Group dudes. And I'm going to shoot the Butchers to get the Deadhead stacks. And you can see, without any flat percentages on my build, just initial hit without Deadhead stacks, 2 hits, 1 hit. Why does this weapon do so much damage? It's weird. This is now the heavy gunner. Look how much this thing chunks. And you think the fire rate is horrible. It's more than enough to kill everything in a couple of hits. Like, what the hell is happening? This thing chunks. It has a magazine size of a LMG, but has fire rate of a semi-automatic. So it's a semi-automatic with a drum mag. Like, what the hell? It just chunks. This is also without buffs, which is just Deadhead. It's powerful. It's really good. So, how good is the alternative fire? So the alternative fire isn't the greatest, but it helps a lot. So it uses the entire mag, which is one downside. So there is a delay. It's like a Tonkor, but Tonkor reloads much faster. And the Tonkor, of course, does much more damage. So the alternative fire is usable, but I will personally not make a build around this. Just use a proper AoE weapon. It's usable, but other AoE weapons are just much better. And also, not only that, it uses the entire magazine size, which is 80, And the maximum ammo on this weapon is not the greatest. It's really not the greatest. So you're going to lose your ammo quite fast. And that's one of the biggest reasons why don't spam the alternative fire. Just use it in some situations. Like you grouped up enemies and you armor strip them, or you're using a heavy buffer. Like, of course, you're going to use this, and then you're going to, of course, annihilate enemies like this. But overall, it's a really powerful alternative fire. For not only having a really powerful single target DPS, it also has AoE, so you fix both of your problems, and the stats are solid, and it chunks. It's a really good weapon. It's a really underrated. I think a lot of people see this weapon and calls it ugly. It is ugly, but it's a hideous weapon, but it's really powerful. I would highly recommend using a Tenet Tetra. It's a disgusting weapon, especially for single target DPSing. It just annihilates any content, and it's quite good. So yeah, that's my Tenet Tetra build. I hope you enjoyed the build. Thank you everybody for watching. Leave a like, sub, and see you all next time. Thank you. Goodbye.